Greetings and welcome to Unit 4, where we're going to talk specifically about ancient China. Ancient China is again one of the oldest civilizations, starting civilization about 1,000 years after those civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt. So why don't we get started? We have 5 terms for this particular lesson that we're going to talk about. We got Laos, Oracle Bone, Mandate of Heaven, Dynastic Cycle, and Feudalism. Please make sure you are aware of these terms. I am going to refer to them in our lesson here, and you are expected to know what it is as I talk about them. So let's get started. We'll start with a little bit of the geographic information and go into the history. So here we go. Here's a satellite image of present-day China. If you've done your geography assignments already, you'll know and recognize some of the areas. Here on the northern part, we have what would be considered the Gobi Desert. It kind of is a combination of the northern part of China, and it actually goes into present-day Mongolia. On the west, we have the huge desert here, known as the, see if I pronounce this right, the Kalimikan Desert. The Kalimikan Desert. Huge desert, takes up about half, almost 2/3 of the entire country of China. Over here on the east, you might recognize this little peninsula here. This is the Korean Peninsula that makes up both North and South Korea. Right across the sea there, you have Japan. You don't see all of Japan there, but you see a little portion of it there. And down to the south here, this little island down here, way at the bottom, uses a different color, would be Taiwan. Taiwan has been in kind of a debate lately as in regards to who actually owns it. China says it's owned by them. Taiwan says it's an independent thing. Pretty much they leave each other alone, even though technically I believe China is the people that are rightfully claimed to it. So, a little bit of the history now. Make sure you have your notes available as well, because this goes right with your notes. So, setting the stage. China's first cities were built about 1,000 years after the fall of Ur. If you remember, Ur was the region in Mesopotamia, first civilizations, as well as 1,000 years before the Great Pyramids and other planned cities on the Indus rivers in India, which we just studied. Unlike most civilizations and cultures on Earth, civilization began about 4,000 years ago in China, and it still thrives today. It is the only real civilization that we can track back 4,000 years that still exists today. Not too many can say that about their civilization. It's still going on today. The geography of China. China has natural boundaries all around it. It's isolated because of all these different boundaries. You've got deserts on the west. You've got oceans on the east. You've got the Gobi Desert to the north. To the south, it's a little different because it's broken up into some smaller nations, which used to be part of the entire China continent or country, but they've broken up into their own country. So the only real non-natural barriers to the south. Other than that, it's deserts and oceans that surround, and mountains as well, that surround the region. Again, desert, 15,000 foot plateau of the Tibet, the Kalimikan Desert, the Himalayas on the southwest, which separates India from China, as well as Nepal. To the north, the Gobi Desert, and the mountain ranges and deserts dominate 2/3 of China's landmass. This map kind of depicts the time period of about 4,000 to 3,000 years ago, where the majority of the civilization of China occurred. This shaded brown area here is the main region we're talking about, where civilization started in this part of the world. As with all the other civilizations we've talked about so far, the river systems were extremely important to the survival of Chinese civilization. Here we're actually seeing an image of the Hanghe River, which is in the north part of China. What makes this unique is, and you can tell by the pictures below, is it actually deposits a large amount of laos. Basically, it's just dust that flies with the wind and lands in the water. The water looks brown because the desert winds have blown all that laos into the water, and it's just flowing downriver. Looks kind of nasty, but it's basically just dirt or silt. And you can kind of see the path that the river flows here. Starts up in the top here, over by present-day Beijing, a little bit south of there. Runs up and down to the northern portion and back down into the middle of China. Very important river system. There are some offshoots of that river, but most of it's a pretty wide, pretty long river. Another river system we have is the Yangtze, is how we'd pronounce it. It's the Changjiang, which is in central China. It flows east from the Yellow Sea and is about 3,988 miles long. It is the longest river in Europe as well. Sorry, the largest river in Asia. I apologize. Environmental challenges. The rivers, just like in Mesopotamia and the Nile and the Indus River systems, which we've talked about, they flood. Same thing happened here in China. So lots of flooding causes natural disasters for those civilizations along these rivers. Because of this, it makes trade difficult. So settlers had to become self-dependent. Couldn't get a lot of stuff in, couldn't get a lot of stuff out because of the mountainous area and the uncertainty of the rivers and transporting on the rivers. So they kind of had to fend for themselves. Subsistence farming primarily, where they had to grow their own stuff to survive it for themselves. Geography did not make invasion impossible, though. Only 10% of China's land is suitable for farming. Most of the farmable land is on North China's plain between the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. As you can see on this map here, about half to 2/3 of the entire country is, you can't do any agriculture on it because of deserts, mountain regions, things like that. These green areas, the darker the green, the more agriculture they can do. And the reason for the lighter green is those are mountainous areas. You can do some agriculture, but nothing on a huge, massive scale. Lots of rock, lots of hills that don't make agriculture realistic.